a beautiful gift for people who want to strengthen their healing abilities, awaken psychic abilities, help animals, and to help empaths use their abilities to sense other people's feelings wisely. All these gifts can be yours simply by using the exercises in this video. I'm going to call these Roadkill Ministries. I will start with a quote that seems like it's off topic. Just hang on, I'll bring it back. The quote is from the Bible. It's the story in which the Pharisees come to Jesus and they're trying to trick him. So they give him a trick question. Question is, can a man divorce his wife? I have struggled with that as a young person and for many, many years. Where's the trick in that? That seems to me so straightforward. Can a man divorce his wife? And then, after Jesus gives his answer, they get so angry, they plot to kill him. His answer was basically no. And then they plot to kill him. I just don't get it. What is so inflammatory about that answer? Okay. At the time of Jesus, women were almost like animals, perhaps even bought and sold. They had marriages at different days. For example, if it was a first-time marriage and the woman didn't bleed as if she was a virgin, they could take her back. And then they had a day for what I'd call returns, the day after the day for marriages for first times. When you look at some of the versions of the Old Testament, where they talk about to honor the Sabbath, and to give a rest for all your beasts of burden, for all your slaves and women. Now, not all versions have all three of those, but many do. Now think of that. On the same plane are women, the oxen in the field, and your slaves. Women didn't have rights. Animals today don't have rights either. So let's talk about Jesus' answer. Jesus mulled it over for a while, and he answered that a man cannot divorce his wife. At that time, if a man divorced his wife, she was not allowed to see her children, she was not allowed to be employed, and may end up starving to death. A man divorcing his wife was often a death sentence for the woman because her lack of rights. So the trick was, Jesus had to choose between, can a man kill his wife or can a man divorce his wife? And he chose, I think, the least evil. Okay, so now we understand why it's a trick question. So he says a man can't divorce his wife. But actually he didn't really say that. He said, should a man or woman divorce their spouse? He's saying both men and women can't divorce. Then he said that some marriages are made in heaven and some on earth. So some are forever and some are not. That's the answer. To say that a woman could divorce her husband was very inflammatory. Think that your beloved Pat could divorce you if you weren't doing something the animal wanted. That's just preposterous to us because animals don't have rights. In 2,000 years after Jesus really stood up for the rights of women, 2,000 years later, not a long time in the history of our earth, women have rights. I say to you, animals have rights. And in less time than that, it will spread across the earth. That takes us into Roadkill Ministries. This is a service to support the animal kingdom, the animals in nature particularly. It's also a service to develop your healing skills and help the earth as a whole. We all have connectivity to other species, to plants, to trees. But we have so long thought that we don't and that we're separate that we have not used them, ignored them, we're not even aware of them, and even if they were loud and clear, we wouldn't consider that we are reading energy from something else. You can go to different plants and just feel how you feel. And how you feel will vary looking at and focusing on a plant. The energy that you feel is the communication from the plant. We just have forgotten that we have that ability. When you focus more on a feeling from a plant or an animal, you develop your abilities to feel the feeling or the communication from the other species. When you deal with roadkill, an animal hit by a car on the road, the animal died with great terror. And that terror is like a loud volume. Therefore, we humans can get a very loud signal to start to realize that we have connectivity to other species and that we can heal them, and observe that we can heal other species. When we pass, all of us, we often don't take 100% of our soul energy. If, let's say, we had cancer and we're loaded with chemo or steroids or something else that's poisonous, maybe 98% of our soul goes up into heaven or the other dimensions or wherever, but several percentage lay in the ground because it's way too low of a vibe to rise into the fifth or a higher dimension. So if we are murdered, the area in the ground feels really terrible because all of our energy that combined with the horror is still in the ground. Go to a battlefield. Go to Auschwitz. Go to a place where murder and tragedy has happened. Go to a really bad side of town and just feel. So we leave bits of pieces of ourselves, particularly when we've had terrible negative situations. And it's no different for animals. So when there is an animal that has been killed on the side of the road, you can, maybe for a day or so, sense a strong stream of energy. And it's not a good one. Simply looking at the animal that has passed and just imagining you can feel, and then noting what you do feel, you will be picking up, connecting to the negative energy, or the karma, if you will, of the animal. Now, here's the gift for empaths. You know you weren't hit by a car, and that animal was. So when you feel the pain, get in the habit of observing it and keep telling yourself, I feel this, but it's not mine. I feel this, but it is not mine. Okay. So we have established that in many difficult situations of passing, we leave negative traces or energies. We leave little bits of negative energies behind. These energies can be purified and returned to us, making us more whole, more complete, more of we are. We can collect our fragments, our soul fragments. And we can do this for ourselves, but we can get the skills so easily here and bless the animal kingdom. Here we go. You're driving by a car, see an animal hit by a road. If you're not driving, focus on that animal. Allow yourself to feel, look, Have the intent to feel it, but don't own it. Observe it. And then it might take a minute or two, and you will feel not just the pain of the accident, but perhaps of being hungry over the winter, or bullied, or almost killed. You'll feel quite a bit of pain, the animal's negative energy. So feel it, allow it to expand, no more than a minute or two, and then we're going to release it. And we're just going to imagine violet flame. We're going to imagine beautiful joy, the most joyous time in our lives. Imagine our whole body up in like flames of joy. Or imagine a white log of pure dancing white fire, and it comes down on the top of our head, and it purifies everything, going to our eyes, nose, neck, shoulder, chest, tummy, lower tummy, thighs, knees, ankles, into the ground. And the earth will transmute the energy into positive energy. So I ask that you do consider clearing the negative energy, and it's, in essence, karma release and ancestral clearing for the animal that was on the side of the road. It's a beautiful gift to the animal on the side of the road. And then I always go and extend this joy and healing and cleansing to the entire species, which is quite easy to do, as a species has a group soul. And then I extend it to the entire animal kingdom. And then I extend it to all the species that affect this particular animal, like humans that might mistreat it. And then I go in and I extend the blessing to all the earth, not just on our skin, all the way through. And I do this all the time when I take a trip. And bit by bit, I bless the world, the animals, while I'm raising my own psychic abilities to heal. And I'm healing the planet that we are so much more connected to than we ever imagined.